Predator claws its way to the top. A teaser trailer for Michael Jackson biopic. And GTA 6 delayed again? All this and so much more on this episode of Beyond the Screen. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You have found your way back to Beyond the Screen. I'm your host, Ryan, and with me, as always, is Jake Holtzclaw. Jake, how are you doing, man? Besides interrupting my intro monologue.
Well, it said recording now on the middle of my screen. I was like, oh, look, it says that. It says the thing. It says the thing. So doing something a little different is we're recording in another software, but the same software, but different software.
Yeah. We're utilizing the thing we pay for to its fullest extent instead of trying to jerry-rig it the way we were for convenience.
Something else we paid for.
Yeah.
Unlock the 4K on the software we use for our cameras.
Jake, you can count every hair.
You can see how badly I need to shave.
Oh, don't talk about how bad you need to shave, dude. I'm literally over here looking like a bear. Bro. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so I'm actually pretty darn tired and I've been nonstop yawning. So let us know in the comments how many times I yawned during this episode.
Ooh, yawn counter.
Yawn counter. What I did, it was my mom's birthday over the weekend. So I went home and saw my mom and I took the girlfriend and it was fun. Nothing too extraordinary. Ryan, what did you do this weekend?
I had a rare, and I'm going to find a way to have this happen more often to where I can do with my time what I want. I had a rare weekend where I could pick. I had like an off weekend, I guess you'd call it. Most of the time, my weekends, and I feel like I've talked about it a lot on the show, is like most of my weekends are like booked out for like 3 or 4 weeks, if not more, in advance. And I sit and like, well, why did I do this myself? Because I've got like 5 straight weeks of just nonstop stuff. So finally, at long last, I had a weekend where I had nothing scheduled. And I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch movies. I'm going to watch sports, my 2 favorite things on this planet. And I watched, 1, a lot of college and professional football. And 2, I watched Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. And let me tell you, my friend, I am shocked at the reception of this film. Not because it's like universally panned, but because it's mixed. My reaction to it was completely unreal. Like I was shocked. Everything that people were complaining about, I did not think were big deals. So like for those who haven't seen it, I don't want to go too deep into it, into like the story, but it really does feel like it does have some liberties with the original story, but it feels like almost the quintessential adaptation of Frankenstein, the closest to the original text we've seen, the Mary Shelley book. It very, very, very closely resembles the actual story. And I yes, it has some creative liberties, and there are moments that are a little goofy. Like, obviously, you know the monster's going to tell his side of the story when Dr. Frankenstein, or Baron Frankenstein, as he is so forth called in this film. And there's a moment where the monster's about to kill somebody, and the guy's like, your creator told me all, kill me and be what he says. And he literally, hand up in the air, stops and goes, my creator told you, huh? Let me tell you my story. Hard pan, chapter 2. Like, I mean, like, hard, like, it literally, like, that moment did make me chuckle a little bit. And that is like one of the few moments where I was like, okay, that kind of took me out of it. But other than that, beautifully told. Like, I felt for the monster in ways that I was unexpected. Like, I was totally unprepared for. Like, I was really kind of emotional for this creature. And
is it because he was attractive?
No, actually. There is only one thing that gives it away, that it's Jacob Elordi, because he's under so much makeup, and it's one of his eyes is just his normal eye. So when the camera's on that side and he looks with that eye, there's a moment where you're like, that's just Jacob Elordi. Like, it is kind of funny, but beautifully done. The shot composition's insane. The makeup and the visual effects are as good as you'd expect from a Guillermo del Toro. It's not as good as Pinocchio. It just isn't, which was Guillermo's last one. But I really liked it. I really liked Frankenstein. I felt like it was really close to the original text, but did a good enough job of adopting new ways to tell the story without changing. So, like, I know the ending was pretty different, but I liked it. It's close enough. I think it's the closest thing to being the quintessential watch if you're a fan of the book. It's not beat for beat, but there are a lot of things that make it very close. So I was shocked. A lot of people are saying that the script was bad. A lot of people are saying that the pacing was weird and the editing was bad. I didn't think it was at all. I felt like something we've talked about a lot when they're doing these remakes. We talked about it with the Batman, which came out in 2022. We talked about it with Superman that came out this year, and now it's the same thing with Frankenstein. They don't waste time by giving you the entire backstory. The whole film's not the backstory like we usually get with some of these when they start from the beginning. And I feel like maybe that threw people off because it was like a little bit faster paced. But I didn't think it wasted time. I didn't think it beat around the bush. I didn't think it rushed through things. I just felt like it was trying to say, look, you've heard this. You kind of know how the monster gets created. Let's get to that point and get to the crux of the conversation, which is like, should someone have this amount of power and what comes after? If your goal is to create, what comes after that? Like that is the main crux of the story and like the moral dilemma. And I really liked it. I liked the kind of what it was saying. There's a lot that it says. And I liked it. I thought it was trying very hard to be true to the text that it was based off of while also being original. And I felt like it did a good job. So I was just kind of shocked that people were saying that the editing was bad and that the pacing was bad or the writing was bad, because while there were moments that made me laugh, just because they were kind of goofy, like, again, my master told you, let me tell you. And like, yes, that's a little silly, but also it was like the second it got into his portion of the story, I was like, oh yeah, I was curious about this. And like, I immediately was sucked right back in. So I don't know. Maybe that just makes me a non-intellectual basic film watcher, but I don't know. I was like, whatever.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably. Something along those lines. Anyway, before we get into our major first segment, which is always box office news, we'll go through and tell you the first, or at least the biggest news in the top 5 and a little bit of outside of that, but give our honest opinions. We always start with a little segment called What Are We Drinking?, in which we go over what caffeinated beverage, or I guess non-caffeinated beverage, if we're partaking in that sort of beverage, we are drinking tonight to get through our weekly recording. So for me, I'll start this time, Jake. I'm going to throw you for a loop here.
Can't wait.
I'm double fisting, okay? I got black tea and that V8 energy, because this I started sipping on like 3 or 4 hours ago, and I just have slowly been, and I'm like, you know what? Like, this is close enough to being over that I want to start. And this time I don't have the pomegranate, I have black cherry. So, and Emily tonight said she's on a flight, so she's not with us today. But she
bottled
is
water
or Phoenix
peanuts.
Yeah, peanuts. What did she say? Arizonian tap water from a fountain is what she had said. Apparently, it doesn't taste right, is what she had said. So, I don't know. Anyway, Jake,
I don't know nothing about.
What you be drinking, man?
I'm drinking an Arnie Palm. No, I'm just drinking an Arizona sweet tea. So I actually put something in my Arizona water.
No, yeah.
With sugar.
Yeah. A lot of sugar and tea leaves, actually.
A lot? Yeah, he's not wrong. There's a lot of sugar in this.
That's okay.
A lot of sugar.
How many grams? Go ahead. Tell the class.
116% of what you should have a day. 32, no, per container, 58 grams.
Oh.
I didn't have any other sugar today.
So that's your daily intake.
Yeah. Actually, more. I can't have as much sugar tomorrow. Yeah. I'm going to crash.
Hard.
That's probably why I'm like a little behind today.
Because you haven't had your daily sugar. Bro neglects to fill his body with the proper nutrients and is like, maybe that's why I'm tired.
So,
anyway.
It's all the front.
We will go ahead and hop into our first segment, which, as always, are our box office hits. We go over the top 5, tell you exactly what happened from 1 through 5, and give you kind of the inside the scoop of how they might have gotten there. But first, we're going to go over last week and talk about our predictions. So we always end our first segment. So we start with the end and we come back. So forgive us. But we're going to go over exactly what we predicted last week and how correct we were. So this last week, me and Jake predicted as follows. I had predicted that Predator Badlands would come first, Regretting You second, Black Phone 2 third, Begonia 4, and Chainsaw Man 5. And you don't have to go very far to hear what Jake predicted, because 4 of the 5 were the exact same. Me and him both were very, very much in the same train of thought. Go ahead, Jake. Sorry.
Nope, never mind. He was right. Ah, Chainsaw Man.
Of the one that was different was number 4 for him was Die My Love instead of Begonia. So he had predicted Badlands, Regretting You, Black Phone 2, Die My Love, and Chainsaw Man. Of those that we got correct, we got each 3. We each finished 3 out of 5, which is a lot higher than our normal batting average for our predictions. We both got Predator Badlands, Regretting You, and Black Phone 2 correct, which something interesting that we'll get into a little bit later, very briefly. Regretting You apparently is a shocker to finish second over Black Phone 2, a tentpole for the horror genre in Blumhouse and even Universal before Five Nights at Freddy's. So we're going to go and hop in here and get into our major box office predictions. Or box office results. The story of the weekend, my friend, is as follows, and it's our first place winner, Predator Badlands, and we have officially entered the era of the yacht jaw as Dan Trachtenberg's Prey follow-up dominates both the box office and review spaces, earning a A- cinema score from fans and an 85 from Rotten Tomatoes, so a rare unification from critics and audiences alike. And excuse me, the name was Trachtenberg. I got caught up on my tongue there. $40 million domestically is what this film earned in its first weekend, which is a franchise record. Predator Badlands also becomes the only film in the Predator franchise to earn that A- cinema score or higher cinema score that we had talked about just a second ago. Trachtenberg has been 3 for 3 with his versions of the franchise thus far, winning with Prey back in 2022, which was the furthest back we've ever gone in the timeline, or at least the human timeline, in the Prey or Predator franchise. Then this past summer's animated anthology, Predator Killer of Killers, and now we have Badlands, all 3 rated very highly, all 3 very successful. By the way, just keep those 3 in mind because Trachtenberg pitched both Killers of Killers and Badlands as either or options for the follow-up to Prey, and Disney greenlit both. Let that sink in. This guy was successful enough, and he had such good pitches for these 2 projects in the same universe that Disney rarely, this is the same franchise that greenlit The Mandalorian and Grogu, but turned down The Hunt for Ben Solo, looked at Trachtenberg and said, we will make both. And they're hitting with it. They are absolutely hitting with both of these franchises. So, or at least both of these installments into the franchises. So, the story of Badlands follows Deck, a disgraced yachtja who travels to the most dangerous planet in the universe to prove himself, teaming up with the Weyland-Yutani synthetic named Ty along the way. And that's interesting because the Weyland-Yutani was something that we had seen in maybe some other franchises. For those who know, you know. But it's an interesting combination and a interesting perspective to take, as we talked about before on this show when we're talking about this very project. Usually the Predators or the yachtjas are the villains. But in this case, they're our main protagonist. So, Jake, what do we think led to the success of Badlands and what's been a slow fall/beginning of winter season for the box office?
I think that like getting to see the culture from the other side, I guess, is the main appeal here. At least it would be for me, is to because we've only ever been, I guess, a negative viewpoint on these guys, but this is a redemption arc, or kind of like you're feeling for him because he was disgraced, and we get to see a little bit more about the culture and I guess the come up story and how a synthetic and a predator can, I guess, help each other out, right? And so, isn't this this is in the Alien universe, right? And that's why we have synthetics.
That's what we saw, and I was going to leave that. I'm happy you brought it up because I wanted us to come together on that. In some of the early trailers for it, we saw not only human skulls, other alien skulls, but we saw the xenomorph skull in this movie. And this is being kind of touted as a little bit of a reboot. As I had described earlier, Prey went the furthest back in the human timeline we've ever gone with the yachtja and with the story in the franchise's history. This film goes the opposite direction. This is the furthest in the future. I love the idea of, because we've been hinted at, like we've been shown from the 80s and the 90s, from Predators 1, 2, and 3, even Alien versus Predator, and now all these reboots, there is a lot of culture in this alien species that leads to them hunting, right? Like that's a big part, is like the hunt. They die doing that. This is all that they do, or they're disgraced. I love the idea of getting to see that from their perspective. We don't get to just see it from the prey perspective. We get to see it from the predator perspective, which I think is really unique. And I think that's a big part of why this was successful. But also, this is what people are asking for. I think like large in part, people do not, while I will say people did not really care for the Alien versus Predator films, it's because they're not good films. It's not because people aren't hungry for that kind of crossover. It's because if you go back and watch Alien versus Predator or any of the Alien versus Predator films, they're just not good. Did they make money at the time because it was a novel idea? Yes, of course they made money. But the reason you don't have any besides what they're hinting at now, beyond what came out in like 2006, is because they were bad. They just weren't good movies. Yeah. So I love the idea that they're going with a guy in Trachtenberg who actually knows what he's talking about, knows what he's doing, has a vision that the fans respond to, and they're not leaning away from something that hasn't worked in the past. Like, people seem to like it. Again, going back to the Hunt for Ben Solo, people want more Adam Driver. They want more Ben Solo, who's the one character, Kylo Ren, who's the one character who actually had depth. They want to see more of that. This is Disney, a rare W from Disney going the opposite direction. Not just in the box office, because we know they don't have rare Ws, but a rare W in the fact that they went for it and they are succeeding in a franchise that people want to see more of.
So,
any final thoughts on Predator Badlands before we move on?
Do we have any idea what's next?
Not that I've heard of. Not that I've heard of. I'm interested to see where they continue the Weyland-Yutani and the potential Alien crossovers, but no. I know that the guy that directed, what's his last name? Alvarez, the guy that directed the last Alien movie, they had talked about potentially creating a movie, and I think he was just spitballing in an interview, but potentially having them, one director write the first half and one director write the second half, but it's the same story and they switch perspectives from one creature to the other, which I think would be kind of a sick art housey type of feel for a film like that. I'd like to kind of see how that goes. But that's the most we've gotten from it, is that the two in the franchise, or the two leaders in each of the franchise, their newer leaders, have said they want to, and they've had conversation, if I remember correctly, but nothing outside of that, at least to my knowledge.
Dang.
I know, but I doubt we'll wait very long because this film's already very close to
making money.
Yeah. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and run through our rest of our top 5 here. Regretting You finishes second with $6.6 million domestically, which again is a bit of a shocker. As analysts and industry insiders, the Colleen Hoover latest adaptation from these insiders was expected to fall a lot farther, but it only drops around 9% in its week-to-week sales to pull ahead of Blumhouse's horror Black Phone 2 during its third week in theaters. But not to be outdone, finishing third is still Black Phone 2, which did a good job. That just under 5.2 million essentially domestically number. It was like 5.198 as Jake had put in here. He updated them for me very quickly. Thank you, Jake. While that might not seem like a great number, you have to remember this film is in its fourth weekend in theaters. It's not dropping very far. It's sticking around. Yes, it fell to the Colleen Hoover adaptation, but it is still making money. And it's what the Hollywood Reporter is currently calling a profit monster, as it has earned $120 million globally on a $30 million budget. So this is a film that's still making a lot of money, and it seems like we're going to get more in the franchise if I had to guess, because Blumhouse and Universal, they like their franchises. Megan. Anyway. Finishing fourth is Sarah's Oil, distributed by Amazon MGM, the faith-based drama about a black woman's skyrocket to being the wealthiest in Texas due to discovering oil, hits well with fans but not with critics, earning $4.2 million domestically. Its word of mouth is doing very well for that film. And lastly, speaking of word of mouth, rounding out our top 5 is Sony's Oscar hopeful Nuremberg, earning $3.8 million. The historical drama about the events leading up to the Nuremberg trials has benefited from that same type of advertising, word of mouth. Not a lot of money went to the marketing in terms of getting onto people's feeds and For You pages, or ads, YouTube ads, as you will, but a film that has done very well in terms of word of mouth advertising from viewers, despite mixed reviews from critics. And to point to that, 69% from the tomato meter and a 95% on the popcorn meter. So, as I said earlier, the fact that Predator Badlands is as unified as they are from critic and fans alike is vastly rare as you look down at the other films just in the top 5 below it. Other news throughout the top 10 or beyond in the box office, the movie original Die My Love, led by Robert Pattinson and Jennifer Lawrence, earns a tragic D+ on the cinema score from fans, which is rare, not received well from the one fan base, or the one base that they need to see their film in good light. And also, Sydney Sweeney's biopic, Christie, has one of the worst opening weekends for a film opening to 2,000 theaters or more ever, earning only $1.3 million. Keep in mind, Jake, this is her third flop of this year alone, following Americana and the Ron Howard directed Eden. Both of these films, going back to Die My Love and Christie, are Oscar hopefuls. So, Jake, what do we think before we hop into our predictions? What do we think about the rest of the top 5 outside of Predator? And looking at all of the domestic box office this week, is there anything that stands out to you?
I saw some people talking about Sarah's Oil doing actually much better than it did, but also, and I was like, what even is that? You know, like but it seemed to, like you had said, word of mouth helped them out. And did it go straight to streaming too?
I don't know. It very well could have.
Did the Del Toro's
Frankenstein? They talked about. I think that film had like a very limited release to theaters in like New York and LA because they talked about it going into theaters, but it did not get picked up or have any results in the box office. At least nothing enough to post about.
Okay. No, I don't have much more about the top 5, I guess. So
yeah. Chainsaw Man finally falls out of the top 5. Begonia falls out of the top 5. I think that's it. Tron Ares is still hanging on at 10. It dropped from 8 last week, earning another 1.8 million, which is a lot more than what I would have thought for a 10th place film. It has earned totally in its domestic box office 71.2 million. But other than that, Christie, as we talked about from Sydney Sweeney, finishes 11th. Can't even crack the top 5 in 2,100, almost 2,200 theaters, earning 1.3 million. And I can only imagine a budget that big to get Sydney Sweeney has to have a budget beyond 30 million.
Yeah. No. Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll look up the budget. 15 million.
15? I'm shocked. That's a lot lower than what I would have thought, but still, you made 1/15 of your budget back in a weekend with a star like Sydney Sweeney.
Jeez. Most of the budget was hers.
Probably. With that, we're going to go ahead and talk about next week's box office predictions. We're going to each go through our top 5, what we think will be the finishing result, and we will compare come next week. Now, I am 1-0 at the box office so far. I'm the only one that has made a correct prediction.
He's gonna say it every week.
Every week, because I want you to match me. I want us to be 1-1. I want us to go into the end of the season. We're almost at a year, ladies and gentlemen. We're almost at our first year anniversary, but also the end of the season is vastly approaching. Come March, when the Oscars roll around, we'll be going into season 3, which is kind of crazy. But anywho, Jake, walk me through your predictions.
I've got Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Third movie in the trilogy of the magic heist Oceans-esque movie. It really is a toss-up and against, I think, Running Man, which I've been hearing very good things about. I just don't know if that's a new IP, whereas this one's an old IP, I guess. I've been seeing more on the Running Man than I have with Now You See Me, but I think Now You See Me is going to be Running Man. And then I'm moving Predator down to 3. So Now You See Me 3, Running Man, Predator, and then Regretting You. And then I'm actually putting Keeper at my 5. I've only seen like one of these on my feed, one ad, and it was just a bunch of people like, I don't even know if it was an ad, but somebody was talking about how it was crazy good. And I was like, okay, sure. Put it at 5 because I didn't see it in the domestic release.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, I didn't either. And the thing is, I saw it on your list and I actually had to look it up because I was like, that's a good point. And I think it will do well just because guys like Guillermo del Toro and I think Mike Flanagan, I could be wrong about that second one. I don't remember, but 2 very distinct names in the horror genre or just cinema in general both say that Osgood Perkins' Keeper is going to be pretty good, or that it was pretty good from their reaction to it. So I think you're right with it being in the top 5. I don't agree with where, but I do agree with it being there.
Boo. Anyway, so you guys got mine, right? Now You See Me, Now You Don't, number 1. Running Man 2, Predator 3, Regretting You 4, and Keeper at 5. Ryan?
I think that's
take it
a
away.
solid 5. I think we have actually which usually happens most week is we both look at the list and we both pick out the same 5, maybe 3 to 5-ish. We don't usually have that much of a difference, but they're usually in a differing order. Oh, by the way, for new viewers, we don't look at forecasts or predictions for these. We literally are just predicting off of what we think from what we're taking from the previous weeks. So we're going into this pretty blind.
It truly is gambling.
It really is, and that's the fun of it. So
Yeah, I love gambling.
I love gambling. Anyway, my number 1, my prediction for next week, I actually think The Running Man will finish first. And that's because you have Glenn Powell. This is and I'm a big, big fan of what's the director's name? Oh no, now I'm losing his name.
Oh,
I'm
big fan, huh?
Fake fan. I'm a fake fan. I'm sorry.
You big fan of this director.
I'm sorry. Hold on.
Don't even know their name.
I literally had it and then I lost it. I'm such a fake fan. It's Edgar Wright. Gah.
Oh.
Edgar Wright is director. I could see
Baby
his face.
Driver guy?
I could see yes. Baby Driver, he did Shaun of the Dead, he did At World's End, he did all the fun ones. I could see his face, I could see his movies, I couldn't think of his name. You have Glenn Powell, you have Edgar Wright. The thing is, for me, this is actually a remake of a 1980s Stephen King adaptation.
Yeah.
I think there's so much for this going its way, not only being a Stephen King adaptation, which not all of those have done well, especially this year.
Yeah, Long Walk.
Yeah, The Long Walk didn't do as well as we thought it would. But I think when you have a leader like Glenn Powell, when you have a director like Edgar Wright, which are both things that, even though Mark Hamill was in The Long Walk could not say for itself. I think that there's a lot more going for this one. I think that the advertising is a lot better in terms of its marketing for this. I think it's reaching a much more broad audience. So I think Running Man will finish first. And actually, as much as I hyped up Now You See Me, Now You Don't when we were reacting to its trailer, I don't think it'll finish in the top 2, simply because I think Running Man will make more than 20 million. I think Predator will be around 20 million. If it drops 50%, I think it'll be around that $20 million mark in its second weekend. I don't think Now You See Me will reach that in its first weekend. I just don't. I think it might get close. I think we will have a solid race. Let's say it could be 22, 20, and 18 in terms of what each film makes. So The Running Man might earn 22, Predator earns around 20, maybe 19, and Now You See Me earns 17 to 18. It really could be that close. I just don't think that Now You See Me, Now You Don't will earn more than at least The Running Man. It very easily could take over Predator, but the fact that Predator's second week at 50% loss, which it might not even hit 50, is 20 million. I think that it's got a good case to stay in that top 2. I just think that The Running Man will outpace it. My 4 is Keeper, simply because I've seen a lot of those marketing materials. I've seen a lot of what those other directors have been saying. That's a big part of the marketing push for it. And I think with the lacks, or the lack of horror films in the Halloween era that we had talked about last week, I think that we will now see people pushing for that with an Osgood Perkins. Because Osgood Perkins has kind of grown his own cult following with Longlegs, with The Monkey, now his third outing with Neon. I think people will be interested in seeing that. They're hungry for a new original horror film outside of The Black Phone 2. So I think that we will see that film kind of push its way into the top 5. I don't think it will beat the 3 in front of it. And then I think that we will just follow the last film that could be in this top 5, and I think Regretting You. I don't see any others, and I could be very wrong. Again, we're not looking at forecasts for what could be next week, but I just think
You're not looking at forecasts.
Yeah. That'd be crazy if you just never told me. This dude's he goes on a run of 4 in a row, and I'm like, how are you doing this? He's like, I'm just good, man. He'd been looking at the forecast the entire time, just copying and pasting some other dude's predictions.
What's worse is if I was and I just kept getting it wrong.
Yeah, that would be a lot worse. Copying the homework and getting a worse grade. But
happens.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that we both have a strong top 5, mainly because a lot of them are the same, and I think that we both have equally reasonable expectations for why they will be in the places that they are.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on our box office before we go into our major stories?
Let's see here. All the way down to... Nope. I got nothing.
Well, friends, with that, we're going to go ahead and hop into our second segment of the day. After the break, we're going to talk about Lionsgate dropping a trailer for Michael Jackson's Michael biopic, and GTA 6 pushed back again by Rockstar. We dive into it after this break. everybody, and welcome back to Beyond the Screen. You've made it to segment 2, which is always our major news segment. We bring to you the 2 biggest pieces of media entertainment news that happened this past week, and we break it down for you. So we give like not only our own opinions, but a little bit more in depth. And what are the industry insiders saying? We give that to you and more. So starting off, sorry, fellas, I'm directing tonight, so I have to find.
Jeez.
I have to find the banners. I'm sorry. Lionsgate dropped the teaser for the upcoming Michael Jackson biopic named Michael, breaking the company's first 24-hour view count record with over 116 million views worldwide. They did this on Thursday going into Friday. So in 24 hours, they got 116 million views.
Somebody needs to react to that.
Dramatic pause. Yeah. Maybe peek out this week for a reaction video to that. Anyway, the biopic is simply titled again Michael, with Jackson himself being portrayed by his nephew Jafar Jackson, who is the son of one of his siblings who was in the Jackson 5. The film is directed by Antoine Fuqua, and the trailer shows Jackson in the recording booth with producer Quincy Jones, who is played by Kendrick Sampson. The trailer features hits like Thriller and so on and so forth. The film also stars Coleman Domingo, Miles Teller, Kat Graham, and a lot more, which we talked about before this. Miles Teller does not look like Miles Teller in this film. Bro, I jokingly said rubber face, but bro does not look like himself. Following its release, again, the trailer pulled in 116.2 million views globally, according to The Hollywood Reporter. During an earnings call the same day of the trailer's release, Deadline reported that Lionsgate motion picture chair Adam Fogelson hinted at the possibility of a sequel to the film that hasn't even been released yet, which its release date's scheduled for April, stating, quote, "Since the last time we worked together on an earnings call, we've had the great pleasure of seeing the director's cut of the first film, and it's exceptional. While we're not ready to confirm plans for a second film, I can tell you that the creative team is hard at work making sure that we're in a position to deliver more Michael soon after we release the first film." This statement, as Screen Rant points out, seems to confirm a previous report that suggested the original plans for Michael was going to be split into 2 parts, due in part to the sheer depth of the original script that dove into Jackson's career. The original cut of said script, when they actually put it to film, was over 3.5 hours long, but also due in part to needed reshoots. Why did they need to reshoot a vast majority of the film, you might be asking at home, and Jake sitting across from me? Well, the reshoot centered around the needed removal of footage surrounding one of Jackson's accusers. So if you know anything about the convoluted and controversial career of the most iconic pop singer in human history, you know it is dotted with instances of controversy. Controversy that I'm sure we'll kind of allude more to later, but one of those was portrayed in this film, and it had to be reshot because the settlement reached between Jackson and this accuser, and the Jackson estate, I should say, included a clause that would guarantee the individual would never be dramatized, a fact that the estate, quote, overlooked when putting Michael into development from Deadline. They were just like, oh, I forgot about that. Which is kind of crazy. Yeah, we did say we wouldn't do that, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. But anyway.
Yeah.
On the topic of the Jackson estate, this is also a great time to remind everyone that it seems like not everyone in the family agrees with the portrayal that is currently being brought forth by Lionsgate in this film. Jackson's daughter, Paris, called out actor Coleman Domingo earlier this year after he told People magazine that both Paris and her brother Prince were, quote, supportive of the film. Paris would further explain that she separated herself from the project after reading one of the first drafts. According to her, she put forth notes after reading it, and they were largely ignored. This resulted in her just wanting nothing to do with the project, so she backed out and has been quiet about it, just not wanting to burst everyone's bubble. She describes that the story about her father will be largely inaccurate, but she also acknowledged that a large portion of the fan base would be more than satisfied with the story, so she just doesn't want to be involved, hence why her kind of quiet nature about the film. She would further state, quote, "I prefer honesty over sales and monetary gain," specifically taking shots again at Coleman Domingo. Ooh. The film contains a synopsis of, quote, "The story of Michael Jackson's life beyond the music, tracing his journey from the discovery of his extraordinary talent as the lead of the Jackson 5 to the visionary artist who created ambition-fueled a relentless pursuit to become the biggest entertainer in the world, highlighting both his offstage or his life offstage and some of the most iconic performances from his early solo career. The film gives audiences a front row seat to Michael Jackson as never before. This is where the story begins, end quote, from Entertainment Weekly. Again, we talked a little bit about it, alluded to it. Naturally, when telling the story of someone who is as complex as Michael Jackson, you're going to have detractors and inevitably conflict in how you tell that story. What do we think about the drama surrounding the film? Not only is it being separated into 2 parts, but largely because of reshoots, because they couldn't show something that they tried. And will we see more than one? It seems like they're saying yes, but how many do we think will be, or how many Michael Jackson biopics do we think we'll be seeing?
I don't think it's gonna warrant more. I don't know if it's. I mean, Queen was one of. I mean, I bring up Queen for the musical biopics because that's like one of my favorites, and maybe Elton is Elton John's a close. Rocket Man close second. Other ones, whether or not they flop to me, and I just don't. I mean, Michael Part 1's probably going to do really well, just because people want to go see it, but I don't think Part 2 is going to bring the same audience. And then I don't think it warrants another Michael. So
it's interesting that you bring up Bohemian Rhapsody because if I remember correctly, this film is the very next project from the same producer. So the same producer turned around in 2019 and said, I'm going to make the Michael Jackson biopic. And then a lot of things happened, obviously, to get to this point, but it is the same producer. We've talked at length, almost ad nauseum, to be honest with you, about the biopic and the hunger for it. And I don't think there is one. I think that the Springsteen film and what was it before that with Timothée Chalamet? It was he did Bob Dylan. Yeah. Those films did not do well at the box office. Like they earned some money, but not most. I'm pretty sure Springsteen is in the red and it will not be profitable. But the point is that I feel like with Elton John and with Bohemian Rhapsody, or Rocket Man, I should say, and Bohemian Rhapsody, there was hunger for that because you have Elton John and Freddie Mercury. This is going to fit in that kind of mold. This film will be very profitable. However, sorry, go ahead, Jake. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, no, it will be very profitable. It's just the production hell that they're dealing with and the reshoots and like that can easily break a film.
Oh yeah, I mean, not to say that films don't succeed after production hell, because sometimes they do. But the big thing for me, the biggest thing that sets me off about this film, and the reason why the film probably shouldn't have even been made, even though it's a money printer. And secondarily, well, I guess I should just get to the point. If you can't tell the full story, then you're just painting a certain picture, right? So this is going to be just a film that is just glorifying Michael Jackson, which there's a lot of that, right? Like I'm not saying he was guilty or not because he was found not guilty in a court of law. You can say for why, that's your own opinion. The point is, this man, regardless of if you agree with it or not, was accused of some pretty heinous things.
Yeah.
Did he do them or did he not? I don't know, and I'm not saying he did. Or I'm not saying he didn't. I just have no opinion. But the fact that you can't tell that you can't show that he was accused, you can't show what he was going through, right? How are you supposed to tell a story that is truthful, like Paris Jackson points out? How are you supposed to tell the story of Michael Jackson? This is where the story begins, right? A never before seen front row look into the life of Michael Jackson. You are taking away the biggest event outside of his musical career, the thing that made him controversial. You're taking that away, and I don't think that, and for that reason, it probably shouldn't have been made. If you can't tell that story with that involved, whether it's settlements that say accusers can't be involved, or whether it's the family, because there was another thing too. The family apparently had a big deal about them showing things that the family said they didn't want him to show, and that was another reason why there was like some delays. With all that, I don't think it should have been made, personally. So,
what are you, allergic to money?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Go work at Disney.
We don't need The Hunt for Ben Solo. We don't need How Did He Live? Anyway.
Somehow.
But the point is, there are so many good documentaries and podcasts about this, and each one will tell you kind of a different story. I've listened to a few of them, and I cannot tell you, even with what I've heard and what these journalists have brought forth, some are for, some are against. Look them up, watch multiple, get different points of view, and then come up with your own opinion. personally, if you can't even tell that he went through the controversies, a controversy that he came out on top of because he was found not guilty in a court of law, you can't even tell the story.
Right. Well,
I think there will be a lot of sequels, to answer the last question. I think that we will see like 3 because you have,
really?
yes, you have Jackson in the Jackson 5 through Thriller, arguably the best album of all time in any sort of music because just of its pure sales, right? And its legendary nature. Then you have him post that around when the controversies were happening, when his skin affliction starts taking over and he goes more light skinned. You have that section of his life. And then you have towards his death. That's 3 parts that could easily have probably 2 films each. So I think we're going to see Jafar Jackson as his uncle a lot. I really do. And if not, I think it could end after a trilogy, but I think it'll probably go. There's the opportunity, I should say, for it to go more.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I disagree. I don't think it'll make enough money after the second one.
I don't know. That's the thing. How close to the sun can they go? You know what I mean? Like, how close to the sun can they go with the accusations? If they get kind of close, I think they can keep pulling an audience. But then again, you underestimate, dude, the power of the Michael Jackson fandom even today, almost 20 years after his death. Like they will funnel the money into that film regardless. At least personally, I think they will.
Yeah. All right.
That's a great transition point. Speaking of controversies, for our next piece of news, GTA 6 delayed again. I'm just going to let that sit for a second.
Y'all been waiting. You can wait a little longer.
Keep waiting.
Keep waiting. Damn.
Here we go again, quotes the BBC after it was announced this past week from Grand Theft Auto developer Rockstar Games and owner Take-Two Interactive that their highly anticipated 6th installment into their all-time popular series, Grand Theft Auto, has officially been postponed to November of next year from May as part of its second quarter earnings press release. After waiting a decade to hear the news or to hear more news about a GTA 6 following the 2013 release of GTA 5, Rockstar has delayed the game twice. People waited a decade. They finally heard of it. They knew it was coming. The official announcement comes. Now we've been delayed twice. It was going to release fall of this year. I think we're already technically past its original release date. We are now officially 2 delays and a year past where it was supposed to have been. In a letter to shareholders, according to Variety, Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick neglected to give an exact reason for the delay, but did state, quote, "We remain both excited and confident they will deliver an unrivaled blockbuster entertainment experience." Zelnick would go on to describe in an interview with Variety that his company is attempting to create the most, quote, extraordinary title ever made, further explaining that this extra time will be taken to give the game added polish. Many were wondering if the recent firing of 30 to 40 employees from Rockstar UK branch had anything to do with the delay, a firing Rockstar claims is due to the distribution and discussion of, quote, confidential information in a public forum. But fans remain very skeptical. Speaking of the fans, many are understandably frustrated with the developer, leading to a flood of posts, comments, memes, and more at the expense of Take-Two Interactive, of which we have one right here for our visual watchers coming up after this. Even Stranger Things star Gaten, I cannot say his last name, I apologize, Matarazzo, had a key point to make, stating, quote, "We got seasons 1 of 5 talking about Stranger Things before GTA 6, which is, again, a common joke amongst all internet watchers, is we got blank before GTA 6. Which is something I didn't think about, but all 5 seasons of Stranger Things 5, which took a decade to make, have happened before GTA 6.
What were we doing in 2013?
I
was 11.
12, yeah. I was a kid.
Yeah. 6th grade.
Yeah, 7th, I think, but yeah.
7th, yeah.
I was I don't know. I think I was a grade ahead of you. But anyway, yeah, little kid playing GTA 5, not even thinking of this moment. But in between then and now, we got all 5 seasons of Stranger Things. Guys like Gaten Matarazzo have like grown up. They're fully adults, and they were not when the series started. While it is, sorry, go ahead, Jake.
So somebody got married between then and
Oh
now.
yeah, Millie Bobby Brown got married. Yeah, they have Brown got married to Bon Jovi's son, and they now have a kid.
Yeah.
In between GTA 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah. And you got married.
I did get married. That is a good point. You know, and other celebrity news about marriages, I got married too. Yeah. While it's easy to be frustrated, the BBC makes the point, quote, the notoriously perfectionist developer has a history of holding onto its blockbusters until it's happy with them, so the news wasn't a complete surprise. While not surprising, it is still upsetting. What do we think about the latest delay, and why do we think? Do we buy into any of these potential 30 to 40 employees being a problem, like they got fired for some other reason and that's part of the delay? Or do we think that they are just being typical Rockstar?
I'm all of it, I would assume. I'm reading through some IGN comments right now, seeing what other people think. They had a poll. It's like, how much would you pay for this game? The majority say 70, 21% say 70, and then the like dollars, and then it's like pretty scattered across the board, with the second highest one being $100.
That's what it's going to be.
16%.
It's going to be $90 to $100. I guarantee it.
I probably won't buy it. I don't know, man.
Thing is, the blessing, it comes out in November. So I have a few games that I do that with, like where like they come out yearly. I'm a sports fan. You could probably guess which ones. I haven't bought those in like 3 or 4 years though. I'm proud of myself. But when I do buy them, usually it's like in the holiday season. I'll wait. They'll release in August or like July, and I'll buy them in December because usually they've patched it a few times and it'll have like a $30 discount. The fact that it comes out in November, it'll have some sort of Christmas discount a month after it's released. So if it costs $100, you'll pay $70 because it'll have some 25% off or something.
You hope, right?
Yeah.
But it could sit. They are money hungry. The Rockstar, and it's bad, man. I can't imagine, dude. If this flops, this is going to be the biggest meme, the biggest generational fumble in the world. I mean, you've delayed, like, dude, this could be a Cyberpunk. This could be like tenfold as bad as Cyberpunk.
CD Projekt Red actually made a joke about like they are in favor of Rockstar taking their time for the obvious reason. They made the joke like, hey, we have experience with releasing too early. You're doing a good thing. But the thing is that Cyberpunk turned it around in large part because of they kept developing it, and then they released the anime, which was much better than the game.
And the DLCs.
Like they turned that around, which is not to say that Rockstar couldn't do that, but I don't know, man. I'm interested to see. I'm looking up right now the top 10 highest grossing video games of all time, because I'd be willing to bet not only is GTA 5. It has to be GTA 5, but I'd be willing to bet too. Red Dead Redemption 2's got to be in there somewhere. Like, it's got to be tight. You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. They killed that game quick.
Red Dead 2?
Yeah, dude. They stopped updating or they stopped giving content.
People are still buying it to play for the first time like today. I understand what you mean, but so
if we're talking about profit wise, like, people aren't buying gold bars as much as they are shark cards.
The top 10 best-selling video games of all time are, and this is according to IGN, are The Witcher 3 at 10, Terraria at 9, The Elder Scrolls Skyrim at 8, Red Dead Redemption 2 7 with 64 million. Let's see here. 6 is Mario Kart 8. 5 is PUBG.
Yeah, well, that's a global.
Yeah.
Is this domestic or is this global?
I'm assuming this is global.
Yeah, PUBG is like super popular overseas.
Wii Sports is 4. GTA 5 is 3. Can you guess what are the 2 games in front of it? I'm shocked at number 1.
Fortnite.
No, but I bet it will be on here in the next few years.
Dang. Halo. One of the Halos.
Oh, I wish.
Is it Call of Duty?
No, it is not a shooter.
Oh.
Neither of them are shooters.
Pac-Man. I don't know.
No. You're going too retro. What are one of them is one that when you hear it, you're going to be like, of course. What's one that people?
PlayStation exclusive?
It is on it. No.
Oh,
I think it's not on. I don't know if it's on PlayStation.
oh.
It's
Forza.
one ton of replay. Nope, ton of replayability. Last guess.
I don't know, man.
Number 2 is Minecraft.
Oh, I
And
thought you listed that.
Number
one. Damn.
1 is Tetris.
Tetris. That's right. Okay.
Those are the top 10. Tetris, Minecraft, GTA 5, Wii Sports, PUBG, Mario Kart 8, RDR2, Skyrim, Terraria at 9, and The Witcher 3 at 10. Shocking list. The point I bring that up and the reason that we go down that rabbit hole is because I bet you money that this will quickly become one of those top 10, regardless of the price. I think that people have been waiting so long. The thing is, this could be a bad game, which I don't think it will be, because I think Rockstar has a tendency to wait because they know they have something good and they want to make sure
regardless, it's going to make oogles amount of like they will make their money back.
The game could suck, but the problem is that because it's going to be $100 and because so many people are going to be fiending to get their grimy little hands on it, it's going to make billions and billions and billions of dollars, like instantly. So I think you're going to see genuinely, you might see 2 of the top 5 films, 2 of the top 5 highest rated or highest earning video games of all time be GTA.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. Man. It's going to kill like the economy. Have you seen, like, did you see what GTA 5 did?
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be even worse.
Everyone called out for work and no one was making money. Yeah.
Yeah. Like corporations lost millions.
Yeah. It's a good thing the economy is doing well so we can handle that, right?
Right.
Yeah. No,
Maybe in a year we won't have collapsed.
It's a midterm year next year, so who knows what'll happen. But I mean, dude, I don't know. I mean, all jokes aside, I look forward to it just to see kind of the fallout. I don't know if I'm not buying it day of. I'm not spending. I run.
Can you imagine
this? Like Jake,
servers aren't going to last.
No, I run like in my spare time. $100 to $120 is a good pair of running shoes that will last me 3 or 4 years. Maybe a little less, but around that. I'm not spending $120 on a new pair of shoes that I need every year to year and a half. When you know what I'm saying? Like I will wait until it gets on discount, and then $100 for a game. I'm gonna sound so old. I remember when I was a kid, the number was 40. When you got to $40, you could get a new game. Like I remember doing chores around the house, going around to my neighbors to do like little like hand like whatever like can you get rid of rake the leaves? Can you help me with my lawn work? I'll pay you $5. Yes, I will, because I was saving up for $40 just to have $40 so that when that new game came out, I could have it.
Yeah.
Now it's 70 and it's looking like it's going to jump to 100.
People are worried that it sets a precedent, right?
Yeah. I mean, honestly though, why wouldn't you be worried about that? Because like if it succeeds, which it will, why wouldn't every publisher that comes up with a game like this that takes more than 1 year to develop, why wouldn't they make it $100?
It's crazy. When Helldivers and Ark and all the other ones that come out are 40.
Yeah. I'm thinking of like, I'm not just thinking Helldivers. I'm thinking of all these, like there's other, oh gosh, I'm blanking. There's a space exploration game that's like tactical. Like I can't think of what it's called. Me and my brother have talked about hopping into that, but that's like $20. And that game has been something that's been going on. It's a live service game. It's been going on for a really long time. Very difficult to beat. But those are the games with substance, right? And those are the games that like last. When you go to Helldivers, yes, GTA 6 will be something that people are continuously playing. But it just is so, you talk about money hungry. It's like, put your money into Arrowhead, which is the developer of Helldivers. Put your money into these small indie developers, like the company that makes like It Takes Two, the co-op games. Those are beautiful and they take a long time to make, but those games don't cost $70. They cost $40. I guess that's like my PSA for the day is like, I'm not shocked at the delay. And to be honest, I'm kind of over it. I'm not really excited for GTA 6. You know?
I mean, we've seen that with movies, right? You talk about it enough and it's like hype, and it's out and it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like I've lost the hype. Like you keep telling me this new big thing's gonna come out. Hey, new car. Hey, we got a new car. It's coming out.
Something too. I guess this is another reason because you bring it to movies, and that's really interesting that you say that. Because for me, so I grew up in a little double wide trailer in like the Appalachian Mountains in Kentucky. And I'm going to be honest with you, we didn't have internet for a large part of my life. Shocking, I know. Audience members are like, oh, no internet. Yeah, we didn't have internet. So when I got GTA 5, the entire reason you got it was to play the story.
Yeah.
If you got a game that wasn't story-based, it was like local co-op because I had siblings or have siblings. If GTA, because GTA 5 story is awesome. The stories of Trevor and Franklin and Michael are second to none. They're great stories, equally great developments. The story arcs, the way they come together is fantastic. When I look at GTA 6, of course, everyone's thinking of the online play. I'm thinking of the story. Like, I know you are too. That story has to like a movie, it has to live up because we've been waiting so long. And I fear it won't. I fear it won't because people are so focused on the online play.
I foresee it. It probably won't be as good, and they've probably spent more time working on online, which is why the Red Dead 2 game has lost its online like support because they pulled them to work on GTA.
Yep,
I guarantee it.
But let's be so for real here, though. RDR2 didn't need. The story was so good, it didn't need an online play. Like, it just didn't.
Right.
Like, that's kind of the trade-off, is that, like, when your
campaign
people...
Well, people expected that the RDR2 would have the online presence that GTA 5 had. And everybody, I mean, I'm one of these people that's like, if you put enough or that much effort into Red Dead Redemption 2, you'd have more time to make GTA 6. Does that make sense? Like, there would have been an interim game being a cowboy game.
So now my question is, when did the first Red Dead come out?
Oh, that was early.
Well, so technically, Red Dead Redemption, you got to remember there was Red Dead Revolver, which was like the early 2000s game, which inspired, or like it was from Rockstar, but that was like the original. Then Red Dead Redemption, then 2. So RDR 1 came out in 2010. RDR 2 came out in 2018? 19? So it took them almost a decade too.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer in that game would have skyrocketed if kept giving support and adding content. And I feel like they would not only have made more money, but also would have like been able to fill a void.
Yeah.
I guess, because I feel like not a lot of people play GTA 5 too. I mean, I don't know the player count right now off the top of my head. I could probably find it out pretty quick, but
GTA 5's current online player count?
Yeah.
It's still very high. It's still very high. I'm going to lead into...
It's 25,000 on PC.
I'm going to lead into our next segment here, but okay. I almost added it into our next segment, which we have a new game. Speaking of which, we're going to go ahead and get into and move on from our major stories. Coming up after the break, we play Real or Fake. We have a new little wrinkle in our gameplay in here. We're going to play a game again called Real or Fake, and then we're going to follow that up with what you should know before you go. All coming up next. Hello, everybody, and welcome to segment 3 of Beyond the Screen. As always, I get on my little soapbox, and I don't want to spend too much time this week. I get really soppy and all nice and emotional, and I want to keep doing that. I don't mean to say that I'm just going to bypass it and that no one cares for it, but the point is what I'm making is thank you guys for being here. Thank you for enjoying our show with us and allowing us to talk about what we talk about and just have fun. It is a lot of fun to put these stories together. It's a lot of fun for me and Jake to come together and have the back and forth banter that we do and talk about the industry that we love. And to come together with Emily when she's gone again this week, but she will be back next week and for the foreseeable future. It's always fun when she's around and we can have our conversations, and she does a lot of hard work to make sure that we have a lot of fun graphics and to make sure that our show runs as smooth as it does for the most part. So I can't thank you guys enough for allowing us three to come together every week and do this type of thing. And we're always looking to up the quality for you guys. So thank you guys so much for being here. Let us know down in the comments if there's anything that you guys would like for us to talk about. If you guys have a talking point that you guys would like to hear us kind of go back and forth on. If you have an opinion, we would love to hear it. Like, subscribe, share, do the whole nine. And Jake, as is tradition,
I'm running out.
He's running out. The tradition's about to die. Come on, hit me with anything.
The mailman.
Oh boy, where do I go with this? Because there's
you do not have to go anywhere.
There's so many avenues.
So after telling your dog,
yeah, you told your dog, and now your dog. Thank you for reminding me.
The mailman.
He's going to run up with the bone that had the letter taped around it after he read it and looked it up. If you remember, he's on the thing, and he's like, oh. He sees the mailman. He like jumps down. He grabs the note still attached. He chases the mailman. He drops the bone. He tackles the mailman. He takes the mailman's shoe off. And as he returns back home, happy that he attacked the mailman's going to flip over, bloody and bruised from his battle with the dog. Mail strewn about everywhere. And he's going to look down. And as he's picking up the paper, he's going to notice there's one paper. It fell off the bone. And it says beyond the screen. Watch beyond the screen. And he's going to go home, nursing his wounds.
Yes,
and
he's gonna bleed out watching
our show. He forgets to cover his wound and he dies. But that's beyond the point because we're beyond the screen. So thank you guys so much for being here. And with that, we're gonna go ahead and move into our third segment, which we don't have a banner for this one because this one is so brand new. We're playing a game. If you guys watch any sort of sports podcasts or you watch any sports shows, you'll know that they do this a lot where they will take different headlines and they will play a game called Real or Fake. And I thought that was really interesting for a lot of things happening in our world right now in the realm of media. There's a lot of opinions being thrown around. There's a lot of hypotheses going on about the biggest things in our world. So I wanted to read some headlines and then followed up with some thoughts from the mass media and the fan bases and give Jake the question. We will both answer them, but I'll pose it to Jake first. Real or fake? And ask the question. So first off, this is how it will go. Our first story. Less than a week after it was reported that star Millie Bobby Brown filed pages, quote, pages of harassment complaints against co-star David Arbor, the two were seen hugging and smiling on the red carpet for the upcoming season. A lot of people said they buried the hatchet. A lot of people said that the reports weren't true. It was revealed that she did, in fact, file the reports, but before the season began or before the filming for the season began. So real or fake, Jake? The true harassment complaints that were filed, because they were real, were leaked in large part to drum up attention for the soon-to-be-released series finale of Stranger Things. Real or fake?
I think it's real, and I think that I don't know, them being buddy was also kind of fake. I don't believe that either. So I don't know. I think the leak was to drum up attention for sure. I think that was on purpose. Somebody had decided that I'm going to hold on to this or I know this one fact and this will help benefit me.
Yeah.
In a way. I think that's true.
I think that there is some truth to it. I think that there's like a little bit kind of going on there. What I will say is there's a lot going around about the idea that they're a family, like the Duffer Brothers were like, we're all a family. And so they did that to show their strength. And you have arguments when you're on set is like kind of like the gist that they were getting at. I also kind of think there's some real to this. I don't know if it was like, I'm not going to go around some little evil henchman for Netflix is like going into some office and grabbing files out from somebody and then like, here you go, boss. And he's like handing it to some reporter and he like leaks it. But I do think that someone somewhere was like, let me just make this somewhat available. Let me like we want more attention on this. People have been waiting a really long time and people are kind of like we just talked about with GTA 5. People are tired of hearing about Stranger Things because it's every 3 or 4 years before we get a new season, right? So let's get people looking at this again. Oh, by the way, 2 weeks before we're supposed to release our first episode of the series finale season, I guess I should say. All of a sudden now, this thing that was filed before we started filming is now public. Ooh, I think there's some real to that. I don't know if it was like, I'm not going to sit here and say like it's a whole blown conspiracy, but I do think there's some real. Any final thoughts on our first one?
I do not.
With that, we'll go ahead and move on to our second one. We got 5 of these, by the way. Insiders report that Lee Cronin's take on Universal's classic monster franchise, The Mummy, now has an official title called The Resurrection. This was released like earlier this year or late last year, talking about Lee Cronin, who did The Last Evil Dead. He's writing. He talked about this was going to be horrific and scary, going to go back to its classic horror roots, but not a lot of details were released all like beyond that. So the other thing about this, besides the fact that it's being somewhat rumored that it's getting a title change to The Resurrection, reports also conflict whether this will be a full reboot of the series or if it will be a prequel to the just recently announced Mummy 4 with Brendan Fraser set to return. So, Jake, I pose this question. Real or fake? Details about Lee Cronin's reboot were released early because Universal wanted to gauge audience interest regarding the franchise before greenlighting a Brendan Fraser starring The Mummy 4. So did they purposefully release a film or details about a film that was half-baked, just saying, hey, we're going to do another Mummy, to see if fans were actually interested before they did anything with Brendan Fraser in a Mummy 4?
I don't think so. I think we've got a lot of duplicates lately. I think this is a 2-movie thing. And to be honest, I forgot completely about wasn't it Tom Cruise?
Yeah, he did do a reboot not long ago, yeah.
I watched that one, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it then. I knew how I felt about it, but I've forgotten everything about it. I do not remember what it was about, other than the mummy was a chick this time, and it actually seemed like I remember feeling like this was a catastrophic world-ending threat, and I was like, how the heck is Tom Cruise gonna beat this lady? And somehow he does. And
shockingly,
that movie sucked. So
yeah, I think that I agree with you with some fake. I think that they probably were excited about a Lee Cronin. Everyone's trying to take advantage of some like Bourne IP that they've had for a really long time because the Mummy's very recognizable. I don't know now. Like, the interesting part is this a prequel or is this a reboot? Like, is this completely separate? I feel like they just kind of fell into the luck part because we've talked about nostalgia baiting. I think that they got really lucky that Brendan Fraser is like back as popular as he is because no one ever thought they'd see a 4th installment into his version of the franchise. I think they got really lucky and they're like, oh, let's bring him back because nostalgia bait and we can make a lot of money. And then on top of it, if people like the franchise, we're making another one that's going to be really scary and more serious with this guy who's proven successful at making series like that, like Evil Dead. So I do think it's a lot of happenstance, but I do think it's interesting that they release a lot of detail or like as much details as they can for a film that's obviously not even half baked with Lee Cronin's take on the Mummy. And then all of a sudden, when it's closer to, they release some details. And at the same time, all of a sudden there's a 4th installment into another version of the series. And now they're rumored they're connected. I just think all that is kind of fun in terms of that. But again, I don't think there's really a conspiracy here. I think that it just happened. I think it's fake. I think they just happen to be coinciding.
Yeah. We're going to have a Scrooge type event where there's 2 mummies in theaters.
Speaking of that, that's a great transition. Ty West adds Severance star Tremel Tillman and Sir Ian McKellen to his Johnny Depp starring A Christmas Carol remake for Paramount. As you just expertly laid out, Sir Holtzclaw, this is one of 2 adaptations happening for the same story, an adaptation of A Christmas Carol. So real or fake, Ty West and Paramount's adaptation will be better than Robert Eggers and Willem Dafoe's A Christmas Carol for Warner Brothers.
I don't think so. I think that's fake. I think the Willem Dafoe will be better. I think that Johnny Depp's will probably make more money.
Oh, interesting. What makes Johnny Depp's more easy?
I think people will go see Johnny Depp in that version. And then I think that Willem Dafoe will stick to the it's more artistic and flavorful and for the not the average movie, not the average moviegoer, but somebody who's watching it for for the art rather than for fun, I guess.
You know what's funny is I have a very much the same reasoning, but I'm real. And what I mean by that is I love Robert Eggers, and I do think that we might get a more deep and rich film So Ty West does the Pearl and like the X trilogy with Maya Goth.
Mhm.
I do think that they will both be good films. And I think Robert Eggers runs laps around Ty West. I think that this is going to be a more rich story. However, Robert Eggers is not known for the lighthearted. Robert Eggers is a very scary, very visceral director in terms of how he tells the stories. I think Ty West has, while obviously they're both from the realm of horror, having Ian McKellen, having Johnny Depp, I think you're going to get exactly for the reasons you pointed out. You're going to have something a little bit more whimsical, something a little bit more for the masses. I agree with you. And I think that it will be more true to the actual story itself. There's some elements of horror in A Christmas Carol. Like, obviously, like, of course, the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. Yes. And those need to be scary moments. But I feel like Robert Eggers will hone in on that aspect to be like, how scary can I make it? And it will kind of lose sight of itself versus Ty West. I don't know. I just feel like with that ensemble, he kind of is understanding. I know Ian McKellen's going to play present. He's going to, because like when you think of present, you think of the big beard and the old man or whatever. So you're going to have Ghost of Christmas Present is going to be Ian McKellen. And I don't know what Tremel Tillman's
old?
Ian McKellen, yeah.
A little old for...
He's old, but I think he'll... I don't know. I just
Present
think of
was like-
Gandalf. He's a little bit younger in some adaptations, maybe. But the thing is Future is like dead. Most of his adaptations are he's like the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
So I don't think Ian McKellen will be playing that character. But anyway, I do think that Ty West will be better. I think this is real. Jake, this one's going to be fun for you going into our fourth story here. Pluribus, the most recent series from Breaking Bad creator Vince Gilligan, with 2 episodes released on Apple TV this past week. The series has a 100% on the tomato meter and an 84% from the popcorn meter thus far, with a second season already greenlit and a 4-season plan according to Gilligan himself. The logline is, quote, the most miserable person on earth must save the world from happiness, which I think is hilarious. So real or fake, Jake, Pluribus will rival the quality of content and or the popularity of Breaking Bad.
I don't think it'll rival the popularity of Breaking Bad. I think that the quality of the content will. So like you're gonna hit me with an and or. I don't hear a lot of people talking about this, but I do believe that it will have the same level of quality. And I am going to watch this because it's got Rhea Seehorn in it. So as the main character now, not only she was Kim Wexler in Better Call Saul, and now she is the main character in this. And I think she's awesome. I think she does very well. So I will be watching this. I'll let you guys know if I might do that tonight. Maybe that's what my plans are. What'd you say it's on?
Apple TV.
Oh.
He
Maybe
will
I
not
can
be
get my
watching
hands on
tonight.
it. I don't know. Somebody's got to have it.
I will say that Welcome to Derry just dropped episode 3 yesterday. You could watch that.
Nah.
Yeah, I'm good.
I did finish Gen V. Yeah.
And
Finish that. Anticlimactic ending. Almost not worth it.
yeah, that's what I've heard a lot of. But going back to Pluribus, I think it's probably fake. I mean, I see a lot of people wanting it to be the next one, right? Like anytime a creator comes out with something, they're like, how are you going to one up the last one? And Better Call Saul was a great follow-up to Breaking Bad. I mean, it's in the same universe, so it's like it's the same story, so it's not hard to... But like, that was a great follow-up. The problem is that I don't think you can match it. I think, yes, in terms of quality and writing, you can say, oh, they're so... Like, the Pluribus was written so well, because Gilligan might be the best TV creator of all time. Like, he might go down as that if he keeps popping out series like this, right? So... Is there an opportunity for the quality to match, like in terms of the twists and turns? Yes, but there will never be anything quite like how we got the original run of Breaking Bad. So I think this is fake. I don't think Pluribus will come close. But maybe in quality, but not in popularity.
No.
And lastly, our fifth real or fake. We'll finish the game here. This one is a big rumor. We will continue. There are unconfirmed reports floating around that the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund, which is called, I think, API, made a $70 billion offer for Warner alongside of Paramount's 3 rejected offers. So this is not confirmed, but there's a lot going around on social media saying that the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund offered this. Both Netflix and NBC Universal are also continuing to crunch numbers and show interest in the production house. So real or fake, Jake, Warner will be sold, but not to any of the American buyers, but instead to the Saudis, of which Warner has somewhat of a relationship with already.
Didn't Saudi Arabia company buy a game recently?
They bought EA.
Yeah, and they started removing a bunch of stuff, didn't they?
Yeah.
Am I wrong? Yeah.
No, yeah.
So it might be something we start seeing a whole lot more of with that oil money, I guess, is where it's coming from. But yeah, I don't think so. I think it's fake. I think maybe. What has Paramount been offering Warner?
Well, just continuously more. So they offered originally like $50 million, and then they upped the dollar amount per share, and they've done that each time. And essentially, what happens is David Ellison goes running to Daddy asking for more. Right, that's like what they've been doing. Skydance, Paramount, or Paramount Skydance have been asking, just trying. But the thing is, and other notes too, because I think this is very fake. I don't think that they will sell to Saudi. I think it's interesting because they do have a relationship. Warner Brothers is talking about opening oh gosh, what's the word I'm looking for here? A production house out there, like a media house out in Saudi Arabia. They already kind of have some sort of like connection and business deals going. So I think it's interesting and worth talking about, but I think this is all a big rumor. Who's to say that they didn't offer the $70 billion, but if they offered it and Warner Brothers hasn't accepted nor declined, they probably quietly declined. I think this is enough, because if they're not going to take $70 billion, I don't think they're going to take anything. So I actually think this is fake, because I think Warner Brothers is going to stay put. Something that I didn't put in here is Warner Brothers has actually set, according to the Daily's newsletter, they set a December deadline to decide what they're going to do, whether that's to stay whole with Discovery, split from Discovery, or sell. They're going to make a decision in the coming months, and I don't think there's enough these companies can do on a 2.5 month window to accurately pitch something that could probably make Zaslav and company bow out. I think with the successes of this year, with the great outlooks in the next few years, especially like with the DCU here, I don't think they're going to sell. And something else to note too that I have here, California DOJ warns against any sale, saying it will hurt competition and it'll hurt workers. And so if you have the government of the state that you are housed in saying don't do it, you're winning right now. You don't want to sell anyways, and you don't feel like you're going to get anything more than what you can get, especially when you ditch not only the cable networks, not only the part of the company that is losing money, but also most of the debt. I think they have a winner. So I don't think they're going to sell. So I think this is false.
Yay. Did we agree on everything?
No, I think there were 2 of them I think that we had disagreed on. Okay. But anyway, we will round out our show with, as always, what you should know before you go. We always end with our lovely little segment. And this time it's going to be true to form, because I'm going to read through these. We're going to pick 1 or 2 that interest us, and we're just going to let you guys go. So thank you guys for being here. And without any further ado, technologist Eileen Vandervelden, she's back, ladies and gentlemen, reveals in an interview that she is developing 40 more AI actors after her current model named Tilly Norwood caused an uproar this past September. Coca-Cola teams with AI Studios' Secret Level to create another synthetic holiday commercial despite fan backlash following last year's similarly synthetic ad. Jon Stewart sent a contract extension, remaining as one of the hosts for The Daily Show through December of 2026. Disney has officially lost the rights to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, returning the rights to author Gary K. Wolfe, who plans on making further adaptations of the story. And lastly, Gremlins 3 has officially been greenlit by Warner, with the director Chris Columbus and Steven Spielberg set to return. What of these interest you?
Coca-Cola surprises me, but doubling down, I think it'll be fun to see the advancements over a year to see if like because the first one was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad, dude. It was awful. So can't wait to see that just to see how much better it's gotten. I know nothing about the Daily Show or Jon Stewart. The Who Framed Roger Rabbit is probably best news I've heard all day, just because we get to see more of that. Like that's one of Dad's. I think he likes that one. So maybe it's because of Jessica Rabbit. I don't know, but I don't know.
Maybe I do like cartoons, son.
It's because how she's drawn. It's just because how she's drawn. So, but and then Gremlins 3, we're gonna see another Spielberg, 80s esque, maybe, hopefully.
Yeah,
Thriller.
last thing before we go, I also the AI stuff I think is always interesting. We always talk about it a little bit. I think it's funny that Vander Velden is like also doubling down, and both of these AI like stories are kind of the same. She's like, I'm making 40 of them. You can't stop me. And then Coca-Cola's like, from what I'd read, they were talking about they made this ad with a team that was 20 people of what would have been 50 had they had done it normal traditional animation. So they're talking about saving money, and they talk about how this is just going to become more and more prevalent. They make more ads with the same money versus cutting people out of jobs. And yeah, the whole thing of why this type of AI is bad. But you hit the nail on the head. The biggest thing that interests me, the book that this is based off of, authored by Gary K. Wolfe, is called Who Censored Roger Rabbit. I'm so excited because apparently there's going to be a more true to form, like a traditional version of the like a movie he wants to do, or like some media where it's closer to the book because there were some changes, and he's going to expound because I guess he has more media surrounding the IP. So and the thing is, if this guy has the sense of humor that it takes to create that kind of thing, I am so excited to see what his unadulterated, unfiltered version will be if he's the head of the table on this type of content creation. So who censored Roger Rabbit, the film, or whatever it would end up being, I'm excited to see.
Yeah, me too.
Any final thoughts before we let the people go?
I have no final thoughts. I need to go to bed.
Bro said I'm eepy.
I'm so tired.
That note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. We will see you guys next week on another edition of Beyond the Screen. Bye.